And good evening, everybody. I'm happy to see you here tonight. I hope that you've got something for us that we might find interesting or helpful. So, yeah, this is not going to be a presentation of any kind. This is, as you have seen in the email, a roundtable discussion, and it's for us to learn from each other as much as we possibly can. You might have issues that you need help with. We can talk about that, see if we can brainstorm some ideas for you. You might have experiences of contacts or specialists or tools that might be helpful for the rest of us that we might benefit from. So yeah, that's the idea. So I'm expecting a lot of interaction from the rest of you, as opposed to this just being a presentation, as I mentioned. So let me just set some of the parameters for our discussion, and we can start with this. These are some of the areas of focus. Let's just do one at a time. Let's talk about reducing expenses, taxes, payments, and other outflows of capital. You know, everyone is faced with economic challenges, and if we're not dealing with it right now, we certainly will be very soon, just the way the world is going. Okay, so we all need to really have a plan to deal with these things. And so that's our whole purpose and intent tonight, which is to try and develop a plan or add to the plan you already have, or learn some new tips or strategies that might help us in some of these areas, okay? So reducing expenses, taxes, payments, and other outflows. We can talk about that. I've got some ideas there. I'm sure you do too. We want to increase and or diversify our cash flow. That's so important. Things are so unstable these days that you might have a job today and it could be gone tomorrow. Just the way things are, whether it be for economic reasons, whether it be for political reasons, it gets canceled. For example, Remington, gun manufacturer, had their bank accounts canceled on them because the bank didn't like dealing with the gun manufacturers. Can you believe it? One of many, many examples. And all of a sudden, when your employer doesn't have a bank account, guess what? He can't pay suppliers, he can't pay you, can't pay anybody. I mean, your job could be here today and gone tomorrow. For economic reasons, could be for natural disaster reasons. I mean, you see what's going on around the country and with floods and tornadoes and hurricanes, earthquakes. Again, your job could be gone tomorrow. So these days, in the age of instant communications, working from home, that type of thing, there are so many opportunities to do that, increase and diversify your cash flow. If one area starts going down, it might be picked up, by another profit center that you have going on. Okay, so that's terribly important. Maximizing productivity. That's a big thing. I found myself wasting a lot of time. Well, in years past, it was just being a news hound. I was a news addict, always watching the news. Well, what good did it do me? It didn't teach me any new skill, didn't earn me any money, didn't make me any healthier. All right, now that was the old days. Nowadays, I find myself wasting time on YouTube. I'm surfing the videos on YouTube. A lot of good stuff on there that you can learn from. And I do to a large degree, but a lot of it is just wasted time, right? So that's an area. Maximizing productivity, build a business, generate cash flow. All right. So many people have an aversion to this. Well, I'm not a salesperson. I don't know marketing. I don't have this skill. I don't have that skill. I don't know how to build websites. Well, if you want excuses, there's plenty of them. Either you find a way to do it, and in the age of information, there are tutorials on how to do anything you want to do. You can learn. All right, so excuses don't cut it. Building a business is key, and that goes a long way towards increasing your independence. Of course, if you've got savings and investments, you need to take a look at that and figure out ways of getting better returns. If you don't have savings or investments, well, guess what? You need to start doing that. And the only way to do that is to have excess cash flow. Okay. And then monetize debt assets. Okay. What do you have that you could liquidate, sell, and put into those investments or put into your business? Okay. So these are the things that we want to talk about, as well as I don't have listed here, of course. We can certainly do Q&A on any of the things that we do, any of the various services, debt elimination, the CMP trust, the MMG Capital PMA, what's involved in there, the NATF Business Club, all those things. We can certainly do some Q&A on any of that if you're taking a look at any of those things. But mainly, I just wanted to get your ideas and have us talk about these things so that hopefully we can pick up some tips. If you need some help in some areas, maybe we can provide some help. So it's back and forth, it's how can we help you? How can you contribute to the conversation? Okay, so that's kind of the outline as to what we want to stick to. We don't want to get into legal issues or, changing your legal status or, other areas. We want to kind of keep it focused on these areas. All right. So let's start off with the first item on the list. Well, let me first, we got a small group here. Let me go around the horn and just ask you if you will unmute your mic and just give us a quick answer as to why you're here and what we could possibly help you with. So, Becky, do you mind telling us why you're here tonight? What brought you here? Anything in particular? You can unmute your mic in the lower left. If you have a mic on your computer. Are you there? All right, we'll come back to Becky. How about the big kahuna?
Well, Mark, I'm looking for ways to generate passive cash flow, increase my cash, and avoid paying taxes once I get to that point.
In other words, you're going to work hard to generate it and you want to keep it?
Yes.
My God, that's not patriotic. You got to support your government.
Well, I know this is going to sound really bad, but I remember being back in first grade. I don't know why, but for some reason I had a aversion to the idea of pledging my allegiance to someone else. Maybe it was because people had already started to screw me over the first time I did first grade, made me do it over again, so I was pissed off.
No,
But
yeah.
so that kind of started my course to a certain extent of pledging allegiance to me.
No, okay.
I know that may sound a bit odd, but um, that's the truth of the matter.
Uh-huh.
So I've kind of evolved and thought as much as possible to keep within the ladder of the law, to keep my funds. You know, I tell people, and I'm not getting political. Um, Trump, as a man, in his time that he served as the president of the corporation, U.S. Corp, he dropped a few nuggets that I caught, and one was he showed how it was perfectly lawful to not pay taxes based on understanding the tax codes. So he was within his rights to not do so.
Oh, yeah,
The other,
he was berated for that, but yeah.
yes, but he told the truth, you
Mhm.
know, uh, and a lot of people made comments about that, even comedians. The other thing that he did was he told the truth about COVID and hydroxychloroquine or oxychloroquine or what have you. And he was ahead of the beat on that. So uh, every once in a while you catch some nuggets, and that's why I'm here, is because I like catching nuggets from you and others. You've inspired me to look for those nuggets.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think I'm here to catch a few nuggets from you guys. So I'm with you on that. So thank you. Thank you.
You're
All
most
right.
welcome.
So I see our list of attendees is growing from what it was in the beginning, but Leroy, real quick, do you have any particular something that you're looking for tonight?
Yes. First of all, Happy New Year. Um, I am looking for ways to generate extra income through investments and getting significant returns. Um, Learning how to trade options, stocks is something on my own. I want to tune in on those skills. And also looking forward to the linkage that I already have with the CMP Trust, and which I think is a great instrument. So I look forward to that as one of my components for 2024.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Well, let's see. We've got quite a list of participants. I think we'll probably end up burning up all of our time if we go through that with everybody. But that seems to be a common theme for most people is increasing income, whether that be, you know, for cash flow or through investments. If you don't mind, put a 1 in the chat if that's something that's important to you. And we'll get a kind of take a poll that way, save some time. So 1 in the chat if income is important to you. And if you're here for another reason, just put it in the chat real quick, couple words, give me an idea so we can zero in on that and get down to what's important to you. Looks like that's the number one issue. Okay. Well, let's talk about that income. That's something a lot of people talk about, and a lot of people try this or they try that. I've got something I'd like to share with you that I think is relevant to that. Here we go. This is from, I'm involved in the Millionaire Mentor Program, Join the Real World, which you've seen some images and links on that, but let's just read through this. I thought this was interesting. Most people I've seen as I traveled the world lack fire in their eyes. They go about their day in a haze, ordering coffee, then blankly staring at their phone, walking around the city aimlessly, either at work or from work, either to work or from work. They lack excitement about their life, almost as if they gave up long ago. This is what terrified me years ago, and I knew I had to figure out a better way. So I ask you, how can you as a man spend your day, or a woman, sitting around instead of building something? I told you about how I was wasting time on YouTube, just scrolling through videos. What's that doing for me? Okay, think about that. How do you waste time when you could be actually building something, learning a new skill, a new language, how to build websites, how to do marketing, how to do professional emails, build a list, things like that. Okay, so how can you be sitting around instead of building something? Ask yourself that several times during the day and check yourself as to how you're spending your time, or in many cases, how we are wasting our time. You could be doing anything. Yourself in the gym, getting stronger, a business to increase your odds of financial success, your skills, so you have something of value to offer the world and your clients. Okay. Instead, you'd rather sit around mindlessly scrolling and wasting time, like I was doing, distracting yourself from simply sitting down and doing the work. I know it's outside of your comfort zone, but nothing ever gets done while you stay there. You know this. So this is a friendly reminder to get up and go after it. Nobody's going to do the work for you. Only you can take your life seriously. We all have a set amount of time on this earth. Make it count. Always the best. So perhaps some harsh words, but they're true. And, I admit myself being guilty of that to some degree. So when it comes to generating cash flow, you can do it one of two ways. You can either invest, and when you invest, or if you have investments, you need to get the best returns possible without taking on exorbitant risk, and build a business, have a cash flow generator. Just as an example, I mean, you can, I'll just use myself as an example. The various interests I have, the Lighthouse Law Club, the NATF with various services, various PMAs, the CMP Trust. I've written a few books. I get $5 or $10 a month on those. And not much. But the idea is to have multiple streams of cash flow coming in, and hopefully much of that can be passive without needing a whole lot of push. So I'm just sharing some thoughts and ideas. I probably should mention that We've got a few people here on with us tonight, so when you have something to share, please raise your hand so we can not be talking over each other. And the way to do that is to look in the toolbar at the bottom, the reactions icon, that little happy face. Click that and you'll see a way to raise your hand, and we'll manage it that way. Okay. So we don't need to go back to our slide, but building a business. Does anybody have experience building a business? Either as an affiliate for another company or building your own business? Nobody? Okay. Well, the first key is to find something that you have a passion about, right? You have a passion about something, and do what you love. Do what you love, and then the work won't seem so much like work. All right? It's your passion. It's what you love to do. Now, these days, there are so many opportunities. You don't have to build a product. You don't have to create anything new. There are so many ways to build a business. Affiliate marketing is huge. Network marketing is huge. I have some clients that are probably in their early 30s. They're multimillionaires, and you won't believe this, from Herbalife. Just in the last 5 years, they made multi-millions being successful with Herbalife. And I'll guarantee you one thing, they got started on it, they had a passion about it, and they worked their butts off doing what they do. Okay, building success. Success is not something that you can do part-time. Whatever your commitment is, you have to do it consistently, day in and day out. And you'll hear that from people who are successful. Okay. So as far as building a business, and I'd be happy to hear from anybody who has experience or questions about it. So raise your hand at any point in time. In the meantime, I will continue on, but we've provided ways of doing that. All right, we have consultant opportunities with the NATF PMA that deals primarily with debt elimination. You could learn to become a debt elimination consultant with that particular program, and we have some fantastic resources to deal with that. I could get into that in a little bit more detail if anybody is interested and would like to know more, but that's one option. I think another option is to become an agent for MMG Capital. And we've kind of restructured that in 2024, this new year, as opposed to what we were doing last year with the Crisis Management Plan Trust, the CMP Trust. And what we're doing now that's a little bit different is we're encouraging people to join the PMA, Private Members Association. It's only $95. It's a low bar. And to start learning. They're going to start getting emails on a variety of topics. They'll have links to different videos, different resources, ebooks, that type of thing. And they'll start learning about the things that are important in building a tax-free, protected portfolio of assets. All right. Talking about trusts, talking about financial privacy, private investing, all this type of subject matter. And by virtue of being in the PMA, then they're going to have access to what we called last year the CMP Trust opportunity, which was an investment into a diversified portfolio. The trust maintains a basket of diversified profit centers. This year, what we're doing, instead of using the trust, we're doing a very simple, straightforward joint venture agreement. And that being the case, we kind of streamlined the whole process. What we found is that people are just unfamiliar with the trust scenario, the paperwork involved, how does it work, what their rights and responsibilities are, what their obligations are, this, that, and the other thing. And it just was a little bit cumbersome throwing people into that, which they're not familiar with, and trying to kind of play catch up after the fact. All right. So we're kind of reversing that a little bit with the new joint venture agreement, making it an easier onboarding process. And then the trust is an option. It's not something they have to do. But if they are earning an amount that would be worthy of protecting from capital gains taxes, ordinary income taxes, things like that, then having a trust would be certainly valuable, not to mention the asset protection benefits of that. And so, so once they're actively involved, they can take their time learning about how that works, what it is, how it functions, what's the legal basis behind it, what's the documentation that's involved. You know, there's a lot of little details that that people just need to learn and be comfortable with. So rather than throwing them into that right up front, we're putting that more down the road a little bit for those who are interested. They can start learning about it before they actually decide to maybe set one up. Okay, if that's required. Not everybody needs one. Okay. You know, smaller investors, you need to build up your nest egg a little bit before it's worthwhile, you know, because you're going to have to invest in it. And, you know, if you're only making $100 a month in interest, it's going to take you quite a while to cover that initial cost. So that's an option down the road. So we've simplified that a little bit. And still, though, the idea is that in the joint venture, the same as we did in the CMP Trust, is that there's a diversified portfolio of profit centers that are spreading the risk and diversifying the nature of the returns. Some profit centers do better than others on some months, okay? Just the same way you want to have diversified cash flow coming in, you know. One source might dry up a little bit for a while, and the other sources you have could carry it. All right, so that's all kind of part of the CMP process. So back to the original thrust of the discussion, becoming an agent for MMG Capital and promoting that program can be extremely lucrative. Okay, we're finding that because of our ability to take someone's IRA or 401k, convert it to a self-directed IRA or 401k, and being self-directed, they can then invest in just about anything that's legal. They invest in a note, and without getting into all the details, a note or a joint venture, we're finding that a lot of folks are coming into the program with $50 or $100 or $150,000. Okay, now what would that mean to you as an agent? Let's just say 100,000, just for round numbers. The way we have it structured, is that one of those, just one referral of that amount, you'll earn 1.5% of the deposit each and every month for as long as that deposit stays on the books. Okay. So one referral could be $1,500 a month for a year, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know, however long that stays on the books. Okay. So in a year's time, that one referral will be worth $18,000 to you. Okay. Now that's on the first level. If you decide to take this seriously and achieve what we call the pro level, a pro agent is someone who is working this really as a serious business and will be accountable for weekly activity reports. How many new contacts did you make? Follow-ups. How many meetings were you able to set up? How many did you close? What the amount was that you closed? I mean, treating it like a professional consultant who is taking metrics on their activity, not just making a casual referral once in a while. That's the difference. Our pro agents, consultants, we can call them, are going to treat it like a business versus just making a casual referral once in a while. Now, at the pro level, you will also then be compensated on the second level. That means the referrals that you make will hopefully have a couple referrals of their own. Let's say you make a referral for a financial advisor, okay, or a life coach, or somebody who has their own following, and they just roll this out to their entire following, and they start bringing in referrals one after the other. Well, on the pro level, you get paid on that second level, that second tier of referrals, the referrals from your direct referrals, all right? And that's only as far as it goes, 2 levels. So if you made one referral, they came in with 100,000, that's 1,500 a month for you. And then if they brought in 10 referrals, you'll make that same 1.5% a month on the deposits of your second tier referrals. Okay, pretty straightforward, and that can be highly lucrative. You can certainly take out a piece of scratch paper, start playing with some numbers as to how that might fit. All right, so what's nice about this is this isn't some mass marketing thing, some multi-level that you've got to have thousands of people in your downline and continually be making referrals to make any kind of big money. As I've just covered, one referral can do you very well. And if you're treating it like a business as a pro, the sky's the limit. Okay, so now we provide training. You're going to learn, a lot of the lingo and the things that we do, and what some of the hooks are, the benefits, why people should be doing this. A lot of reasons. We can go over that if you want. But you're going to learn all those things, and you're going to learn to be a professional consultant. Now, a person says, well, I've never been any good at sales. I don't know if I can do that. Well, this isn't sales. This is consulting. The difference is a salesperson will push something down your throat whether you need it or not. A consultant will identify a problem and solve that problem. And what we do solves a lot of problems. So you merely need to know your product or your service and relate that to the person as to how what we do solves their problem. And then when they have digested some of the basic information, they have an idea what we're doing, they've seen the introductory material and have an idea, you simply turn them over to me and let me handle it from there, and I'll do the closing. So there's no sales involved. All you have to do is open the door, get the interest, and turn them over to me. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. That's a pretty nice arrangement as far as generating cash flow. As I mentioned, the debt elimination consulting. I've seen statistics that right now American consumers are over $1 trillion in debt on credit cards. People are having a hard time making ends meet. Their credit card payments are high. It would be a literal lifesaver for a lot of people to get rid of those credit card payments. All right. And there's nothing sneaky or underhanded about it. People say, well, you used the credit card, you took the credit, you need to pay it back. Well, what if they issued the credit card based on fraud? What if the whole thing was illegal using shady accounting tactics? What if you were the one that actually created the money that they took, turned around and lent it back to you? So if you understand how money and credit is created, you'll understand the fraud. We have that fully explained in some videos on the NATF.world website. That's a redirect. The original URL is national-taskforce.org, national-taskforce.org. And you'll see a whole series of videos on the debt elimination page. Okay. Now, I didn't intend for tonight to be just kind of a rolling advertisement for what we do. But in the absence of questions or directions from you, that's what I have to talk about. Okay. Most of you are interested in income. I'm trying to explain some of the income opportunities that we can offer. Any questions on any of that I've covered, on any of either of those services? You can raise your hand in reactions at the bottom. Everybody's in listening mode. Okay. Okay, Leroy, go ahead.
Yes, the CMP trust, of course, I got involved last year. And then I hear you mention the joint venture. What's the difference between the two?
Well, I covered a little bit of that. The biggest difference is that the joint venture is just one simple joint venture agreement, as opposed to being a part of the trust, getting the certificate units, the exchange contract, reading through a 17-page trust agreement, and dealing with all of that. Okay, that was kind of slowing people down a little bit, just trying to digest that information. Well, what's this, or why does it say that, or so the biggest difference is that the joint venture is basically the same thing, except we've streamlined the onboarding process and the paperwork a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, it does. Thank you for the explanation.
Okay. Okay, Wendy, hello, good to see you. What's on your mind?
Hi. On that debt elimination with the credit card, that also, they can't use that credit card afterwards when they do that debt elimination. Isn't that correct? They
Right.
no longer.
Yeah, you can probably kiss that credit card goodbye.
Yeah.
Although the law has it that there will not be a blemish on your credit report. If there is, that can get corrected.
Right. I did that through the assembly paperwork.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it worked. They eliminated it, but it didn't go on my bad credit. So I have a little bit of experience. We sent a letter, and I'm sure that's probably what basically, or an affidavit or something to that effect.
Okay.
So
Good.
yeah,
So you know it works.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, essentially what the idea is on that, for those who are not aware, is that when you sign the credit card agreement, that's essentially a promissory note. And our money that we use every day at the grocery store, paying the electric bill, whatever, our money today is credit. Credit is a promise to pay. And you well know from looking at the bills that are in your wallet, that those dollars are Federal Reserve notes, promises to pay. Okay. So the money is credit. And there's nothing that says that a private company in the Treasury, US Treasury, Federal Reserve, I'm sorry, the Federal Reserve banking system is the only one that can issue credit. Everybody has the ability to issue credit. That's the Uniform Commercial Code. Exchanging promises to pay, notes, that's the money. So when you sign that credit agreement, you're creating credit. You're creating money, which the bank then takes, deposits into their checking account. Okay. Now, when a bank takes a deposit, that's a liability because they need to pay that back, right? So that's a liability. But what they do, the fraud, is in the fact that they take that liability, they present it as an asset, and then they turn around and put it in their checking account and write you a check, or in the case of a credit card, to give you credit that you can spend on your credit card. All right, so that's fraud. That's illegal conversion of assets. Okay, the whole thing.
And charge you interest.
Yeah. Charge you exorbitant rates. So the whole thing's a fraud. It's a ripoff. It's an abuse, and you're in your full rights, morally, ethically, legally, to eliminate that fraud. The Supreme Court has stated that fraud vitiates all contracts. So the judge will say, well, you signed the note to pay it back, didn't you? No, you didn't sign it with full disclosure and full awareness of what was going on. They failed to disclose the fraud. So that name on the signature line is not legally a signature with full knowledge and intent, because you were denied full disclosure. Okay, you were fraudulently induced into that agreement. So no, that's not a signature. I did not agree to participate in this fraud. Okay, so for those that have a moral objection to that, you really have to understand the source and origin of how the whole thing started and who was doing what to whom. Okay, so over $1 trillion in fraudulent debt is now on the books, and people need relief. And so if you would like to learn that, become a debt consultant with us, we'd certainly be happy to have you there. Basically, that just involves joining the NATF, Private Member Association. You'll have access to the resources, and we'll kind of walk you through that a little bit. And that's kind of a nice, fun thing to do. So, just one more thing on that is that I know there are different approaches to doing that. Typically, these credit consulting companies will just show you how to send a challenge letter, force them to prove that they actually have the debt. And that's just old stuff that just doesn't work. All right. They're not challenging the right things. You might catch them slipping up on the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act from time to time. Catch them in that. That would be grounds for disputing it. But we go right to the heart of the matter and the fraud of the transaction to begin with. And so we have a cover letter with an affidavit with lists of points that we know they cannot come back to. All right. They cannot come back on those points. They have no defense. All right, so we give them 30 days to respond. They don't respond. They can't, they won't, and they'll just try to ignore it and buffalo you. You send a notice of default, and technically the debt is discharged at that point. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean they're just going to roll over and say, oh, you win, goodbye. You know, it might take a little bit of time to drive the point home and make it very clear. Start maybe even have to threaten them with legal action in some cases, which is entirely appropriate. But the law is entirely on your side. And should they put any blemishes on your credit report, that's a whole nother cause of action that's going to put them in a serious disadvantage. Okay, so you've got all the weapons on your side. Technically, the debts will be discharged, legally speaking, after the 30 days default. So typically, these credit card companies are going into court. Most people don't respond. It's not worth hiring a lawyer. And so the credit card companies, the banks, they get a default judgment. All right. And that goes on your record. That hurts your credit. Now they have a judgment. They can put liens on your property. It's a whole mess. So what we're doing with this process is we're turning it around. They are the ones in default. They are the ones failing to object. In law, failure to object is fatal. All right. And you all know that. So I won't go over that. So yeah, it's a strong, strong position. All right. Now the finances on that, we charge $295 upfront, which is a very low fee. $150 goes to the consultant who brings the client. We also charge 15% of the amount discharged on the back end once the debt is discharged. Okay, once they default. All right, and if we're discharging a mortgage or an SBA loan unsecured, those could be larger figures. And what we do in that case is simply just have the client continue to make the payments they were making previously to the bank or the creditor, make those to us until that 15% is done. So basically they get an 85% discharge. And that's more than fair. And the consultant shares in that 15% as well. So it's those back end fees that can also start to accumulate. So that can be quite a lucrative option for those seeking cash flow as well. So I hope that's clear. Any questions on that? Again, you can find out more about that. We've got several videos and ways to get involved on the NATF.world website. Debt elimination, you will find under the resources tab on the main menu. Okay, so lots of good information. You know, this credit stuff fascinates people. It fascinated me. And you'll see a couple of the videos we have on there. We've got one, I think many of you have seen the video of the courtroom scenario where the banker is on the stand, on the witness stand, answering some strategically poised and pointed questions. It's hilarious and fascinating just to see how that whole thing comes down. But in fact, that's probably been one of the most shared videos on YouTube. I see that our video popping up on channels all over the place. They might put a different cover on it and I start listening to it and I go, hey, that's my voice. I'm glad they like the video, but it's good the information is getting out. People are starting to learn. All right, cash flow, income. The program that I'm involved in that you've seen on the Millionaire Mentor Program. That's an excellent school or training facility to learn how to do a lot of things. Learn how to master social media, learn how to master building websites and sending out emails, learn how to do a side hustle to make some quick cash while you're building your main business. Some really good motivational stuff. I'll share one short video clip with you before we leave, and lots of good stuff on there. So if you're kind of wondering what to do or where to go to build a business, I would highly recommend that Millionaire Mentor Program, which is a part of our NATF Business Club. That's one of many benefits. It's included. It's not included. It's an extra fee of extra $50, but I mean, that's really cheap. Really cheap. So, hi, Karen. Nice to see your smile.
Thank you. I signed up for the joint venture thing, and I want to know what is the next step for starting to do it. I want to start making referrals.
Okay. Well, you should have started receiving emails, training emails for agents. I just put you on that list. I think it was today or maybe it was yesterday. But you should start seeing that. So you'll be getting training emails. So watch for those. And
Okay.
that's going to start kind of walking you through the knowledge base that you need to kind of have, or at least know where to get what information. You don't need to memorize a bunch of stuff. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to kind of know where to find stuff and share those links with other people. And then when they have questions, the idea is don't try to answer their questions. Say, hey, you know what? I know the CEO and the founder. You need to talk to him. I'll try to arrange a special appointment with him. Don't know if I can. He's a busy guy, kind of take it away from him a little bit, make it a big deal. And just turn him over to me and I'll take care of him. So that's the great thing. All you need to know is where a couple of videos are and where to find a couple things and share them with them. If they're interested, hey, let me put you in touch.
Okay. And do you, or would I automatically move up to pro if I start dealing with people that have a like a following?
Not automatically. What we need to do is have a conversation, and we're going to need to work out a plan, to see what your plan is going to be, what we're looking for, for that pro level commitment. And I mean, it doesn't need to be a whole lot, but it just needs to be consistent and well thought out and planned ahead of time, so that you're achieving some weekly benchmarks. Okay.
Okay. My next question is, how would I avoid IRS stuff? I haven't done IRS for a number of years because all I'm living on is Social Security, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think you probably have a whole lot to worry about if that's the case.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Worst case scenario, we'll set you up as an auxiliary for the World Mission Church, and you can be a faith-based organization and just tell them to go take a hike.
Okay. I am basically attached to other
Yeah.
missionary organizations. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. Good. Yeah.
So, okay.
All right.
Thank you a lot.
All right. Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Let me know any questions you have coming up.
I will.
Yeah. Wendy, did I see your hand up again, or was that a mistake?
You did. I was just basically wondering if that was, I would be receiving some of that information like she is also.
Yeah, in fact, you are a member of the MMG PMA already, so you're on that mailing list. You should be getting some emails. I'll double check that and make sure that you're on there. And so just keep your eye open for the emails. We have a series right now, I think it's about 13 or 14 training emails. And you know, these sessions I'm gonna plan on doing every Tuesday. So this would be an opportunity to perhaps to bring any invitees, any guests, any prospects to come and ask questions about it. So this will be their opportunity to do that. Or, you know, if they're really serious and you think it's worthwhile, be happy to arrange a private meeting as well.
Great, thank you.
Okay. All right. So, wow, time flies in a hurry. So any other issues that you guys would like to bring up? Any issues you're having you need help with? Let's maybe focus on that right now. We want to make sure we can help as many people as possible. We covered a little bit on the cash flow issue, as we could talk for hours on that. But anybody that would like to follow up, any of the emails you get from me, just click reply and it'll come back to me, and you can add your questions or comments in the email that way. So you don't need to memorize any email address, just click reply. It'll come back to me. All right, so you know, in terms of developing an investment portfolio to generate cash flow, that's one thing. Building a business, that's another thing altogether. And I want to share with you a quick video. I think it's relative. It's Andrew Tate, and he can use some strong language once in a while, so I hope that doesn't hurt your ears, but it's not too bad. But let's he's talking about winners and losers, and I think it's very relevant because I see a lot of people making commitments that they don't follow through on. A lot of talk, but not much walk, you know? So this is kind of relative to that. So let's just take a look at it. It's only about 2 minutes.
I don't believe in motivation as a concept. I believe in discipline and divine purpose. People who ask about motivation are basically saying, I don't feel like doing this. How do I feel like doing this? And the answer is, the true red pill is, you're never going to feel like doing it all of the time. Sometimes you're not going to want to do it. Doesn't matter what it is. If I'm asking you to go fucking surfing or skateboarding or driving a Ferrari every day, there's going to be days you wake up where you just don't feel like doing it. And I'm like, what it is. But if you do not do it when you don't feel like doing it, you will never perform against the person who does it regardless of how they feel. You have to make a decision. Forget about the idea of motivation, forget about the concept of it. Throw it away. And decide who you are. And then the genuine task you all complete. Go look in the mirror, look into your own eyes, and decide. I'm not fucking losing. I'm winning. Because if you're only going to do what you feel like doing, you're of a loser. A man who only does what he feels like doing is going to lose against the people who perform regardless. If you lose, what are you? A loser. Win. I'm willing to win. To win, I have to perform day after day. So I just plan to do this every day, regardless of how I feel. Some days I'll enjoy it. Some days I will. Some days it'll be fun. Some days it won't. But I'm going to do it every single day to the best of my ability. I will not allow my emotional state to affect my winners too. Because You agreed to fight on the 13th of July. It comes around. You might feel like fighting, you might feel like kicking someone back, you might not do it. You might be a little bit sick. But it's today, you're ready to vote. You're ready to vote. You don't get to say, I don't feel like it. You don't get to move and tell people why didn't feel like it one day. You just have to do it. You have to be good enough on your worst day to beat your opponent on his best day. It might be your worst day, it might be his best day, you still have to fight. You still have to win. That's the game. So if you like to think about motivation, I'm encouraged to your citizen. But it has nothing to do with any of this. It's not who you are. It's about your purpose, your divine purpose, given to you, dictated by God. Are you the kind of person who lives a life worth living, or are you a fucking loser? Now, watching this, there's going to be some of you which fall into each category. You're all winners. You're in the right place. But some of you are probably still lazy losers. That's the reality. Listen to this video. And tell me about your life. Go look in the mirror, look yourself deep in the eye. Look at yourself. And decide. Are you a fucking loser? Because if you're a fucking loser, you can go read and watch a bunch of shit about motivation to try and convince yourself to do a little bit of work. Or are you a winner? Because if you're a winner, you don't give a fuck. Work needs to do, and it must be done.
So, words to pay attention to, I think. A lot of times I'm in a position, I want to say the exact same thing, but perhaps I'm a little more sensible than to be so direct. So I'm glad I found that video to share with you. And it's true, it's true. As you saw in my email, running up to tonight's event, it's just very clear that there's a lot of people that just have plenty of excuses. You know, we've all used excuses for one thing or another, and it comes down to a point where we have to decide: are we going to do this or not? Are we sick and tired of being broke, not having cash flow, not having investments, making passive income for us, not being able to do the things we want to do because we don't have the money? When is all that going to stop? It's going to stop when we decide that we're going to change it. And we're going to do whatever it takes to change it. And that's what Tate was talking about. We have to do the things that are necessary, whether we want to do it or feel like doing it or not, and do it on a consistent basis every day or 3 times a week or whatever it is that goal is that you set for yourself. So that's more in line with what we're talking about at the pro level of our MMG referral agent or consulting opportunity. Okay, we're going to set a game plan, and we want weekly accountability for certain numbers to be accomplished, and we're going to have meetings to confirm that. We're going to review what happened, what didn't happen, why not, and that's what you're going to. It's going to force you to do the things that are necessary to really achieve success and getting compensated on that secondary level. Okay, so give that some thought. Give that some thought. Commitment is what's missing in most people. We've had so many people volunteer to help with NATF. They volunteer to help. They take our time to get trained, to kind of get the guidelines, to get pointed in the right direction. So we take our time preparing them, and then they go out and they do absolutely nothing. Well, I appreciate people volunteering, but I don't appreciate people volunteering, taking our time, and then not having the commitment to do anything. All right, so you get my point. So that's something that we each have to internalize and ask ourselves, are we really serious about this? Are we really serious about generating cash flow and doing what it takes, learning what I need to learn, doing what I need to do, getting myself organized, tracking my activity, tracking my results, doing the follow-ups, doing all the things that are necessary, okay? Otherwise, okay, that's fine. We can just be a casual referral agent, when you come across somebody every once in a while, all right, we're happy to, pay the referral fees, but you're not going to get the second level. Okay, and that's where the money is, or the biggest part of it anyway. So just some words to the wise. All right, any final comments or questions before we sign off? All right, was this helpful? Give me a quick one in the chat if you learned anything tonight. This was helpful. You'd like some more. I'd like to see what kind of response and reactions we get. Need your feedback so we know what to do next week. All right, so we know how we can do better next week. All right, looks like most people are getting some value out of this. And if you're not getting value, guess what? You need to tell us why and participate and bring the conversation around to the point where you will get value. This is a roundtable discussion. I felt more like I was kind of giving a presentation tonight, and that really wasn't the idea. So anyway, thank you for your feedback in the chat. And we'll continue along these lines next week. So next week, come back with, some issues you're having that you'd like some help with. And we'd like to tackle those. We'd like to help you out and generate some success, do what it takes so that we can all get out of this economic quagmire that most of us are in, myself included. Things have really changed over the last year, 2 years with the COVID thing. I've had to pretty much reinvent myself and do a whole lot of new things I wasn't doing before. And I imagine that's the same for everybody else. I know it is for a few of you, in fact. So anyway, thank you for your feedback. See you next week. God bless. And look yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself the question, are you a winner? Okay. All right. Good night, everybody.